Hey guys, this is Himanshu, and today we are going to discuss the question, which is a very famous interview question, like adding two linked lists which are representing numbers. To give you guys some background, uh, so as you guys know, every variable in a particular language is capable of storing a certain range of numbers, like integer has can store some range of numbers. So I'm not aware of the range, but yeah, it can store some range of numbers and it's mostly out of 4 bytes, right? And then there is another variable which is of long type. It can store also a certain range of numbers. Then there is long, right? And it can also store the bigger range of numbers. But suppose you have a number which is bigger than the this range, which is the maximum range or support provided by a particular language, right? So, so, so you cannot store it into this. So how you're going to store that number, right? So in that case, what we can do, we can use a linked list as a data structure to store that number, right? So what this question represent, this question will give you two that kind of numbers, like those numbers are being represented as list, right? So suppose this is your first number as an example, and this is some 4, 3, 5, 6, 7. So this is your first number, which is being represented as list. And then there is one more number, right? Suppose this is our second number, which is 2, uh, 3, and 4, right? So this is our second number, and this will be head 2. Now what you have to do, you have to come up with an algorithm or a program which will add the number represented by these two lists and come up with a list which will represent the output as a sum. So what will be the sum? So sum will be, if we add 4 and 7, so it will be what? 11. 1 will go as a carry, then 3 and 9, or 3 and 6 is 9, and then 1 carry, then it will be 10. 1 will come as a carry, then 2 and 5, which will be 7, then it should be 8, right? And then there is, so 3 and 4, right? So 3 and 4, that will be the sum. So this is what we have to return as an output, right? So I would like you guys to pause this video here and think about the solution, how you can solve this problem and what will be the time complexity. And yeah, that's it. So I hope now you guys would have paused the video and would have got some solution at least for this problem. So let's discuss what could be the solutions and how we can go ahead and solve this problem. So first solution that comes to our mind, right? So if we write these things as a number and this also as a number, right? So here there is a problem, right? So we have to actually add numbers from the last, right? So that's how we add the numbers, right? But the problem is, because this is a singly linked list, we cannot traverse in a reverse direction, right? So we can traverse only in this direction, right? So the first solution that comes to my mind when I see this kind of problem is like, okay, we know how to reverse a list. So if we reverse this list, so this will be like this first list after reversing. Okay, so this is our first list. And then there is, if we reverse this list, then this will be 4, and this will be 3, and this will be 2, right? And this is again head 1 and head 2. So now if we add, we can easily add these numbers, right? So this will be what? This will be 1, and then this will go here, and this will be 0, and then 1 will carry forward. This will be 8, and then this will be 3, and this will be 4, right? And then we'll reverse this output list. So if we reverse this output list, so we'll get our output, right? So it will be, let me erase this one. So it will be like, if we reverse this list, so this will be 4 and then 3 and then 8 and then 0 and then 1, right? So this is what we got last time. Okay, so yeah, so this could be the first or one solution that we can propose in our interview, and it's pretty easy solution because once you reverse it, it's just you have to like keep moving forward from here to here and just keep on adding, right? Which is the easy solution. But if interviewer will start putting some constraint on this problem, like the first constraint that as an interviewer I will put is these lists are read only. So if the lists are read only, that means you cannot change the pointer. So that means you will not be able to reverse the list, right? So now you don't even have the option of reversing the list. So yeah, so now how will you solve this problem? So because you cannot reverse it, so how will you solve this problem? So if you look into this problem, what you have to do, you have to first reach the end of the list and then start doing the additions from here. And then somehow you have to fall back to the previous node, right? And then you do the again addition operation, right? And that's how you have to just keep on fall back to the previous node and start and keep on adding, right? And when you see this kind of logic, you should always think about recursion, right? Recursion can give you this, right? Because in recursion, what will happen if you're doing this traversal in recursion, all these nodes will be stored in the stack, right? And when your recursion will add, you will fall back, like you will extracting these nodes from the stack, right? So this is a clear problem which can be solved by using the recursion. Okay, so yeah, so we can solve it by recursion. Now there is one more problem. So if you start going next in recursion, as these two lists have different length, what will happen? This list will end and this list will not end. So you will be looping inside this and this list will end, right? So because the both of the list have different lengths, and what you have to do in this problem, if you know the basic addition, we have to reach this node and this node at the same time inside the recursion so that we can add them. And whenever, as we have seen in the previous problem, whenever we have list of different length and we have to reach the end at the same time in both of the lists, what we do, we calculate the diff, as we have seen in the previous problem or the problem before that, right? Diff is the best way, right? So what we'll do, we'll calculate the length of first list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll calculate the length of the second list, which is 3. Then we'll calculate the diff, which is what? 2. And now we know from the diff that we have to move our head by 2. So our head should be here, and this head will be here, head 2 and head 1. And then if we start moving both of these pointer one by one, we will reach the end at the same time so that we can start, start adding them while we fall out of recursion. So yeah, so that's the basic concept of solving this problem. So let's jump into the code and see how we can write this recursion into the code. And if you are not how sure about how the recursion work, I would like you to go into the recursion playlist that I have and see some of the problems there. So that will give you the tools that you need to understand the recursion and solve the recursion problem. So let's go to the code and see how we can solve this in recursion. Okay, so let's see the code. So, so this is the function that I've written, and if you can see, there are two inputs, list one and the list two. Uh, the divisor represent the base in which we are going to deal with the numbers, or we are going to add the numbers. Mostly, in most of the cases, this is base 10, which is our numeral system that we use mostly. But interviewer can ask it to do it in a different numeral system. So that's why I kept it. If you want, you can ignore it. Okay, so let's go down. If any of the list is null, then in that case, adding null list to the other list will always give you the will always return you the list which is not null. So it doesn't make sense to add a null list to the other list, right? So in that case, that's what I'm doing. So let's come back to this. So as I've already discussed, what we'll do first, we'll calculate the length of the both of the list, because what we need to do here, actually I've deleted the example, so let's go back here. Okay, yeah, here I have the example. So okay, so here it is the example where I have 5 elements in the first list and 2 elements in the second list. And yeah, so first what we'll do, as we discussed, we calculate the length of the list. So the length of the first list is 5 and the second list is 2, and that's what we are doing in our code. So we are calculating the length of the first list and the length of the second list. After that, we are calculating the diff so that we will be able to know, okay, which head we need to move. So in this case, the length 1 will be greater than length 2, so our diff is 2. So that's what we are going to do. And this is our actual recursion function. So let's go inside this recursion function. So this is that recursion function where we are going to perform the recursion operation. So as the diff is greater than 0, we already know we have to move head 1. That's what I'm doing here. If the diff is less than 0, we know we have to move head 2, and that's what I'm doing here. And if the diff is 0, then we know both of the lists have the same length. So we can actually move forward in both of the lists uh, at the same pace, right? So I'm moving both of the heads to the next. That's what I'm doing here. So let's take one example and let's run through it so that we understand it better. So here that's the example that I've taken. So let's calculate what will be the output. What should be the output? So 5 and 2, 7, 4 and 6, 10. So one carry will go here and it will become 10. So one carry will go, it will become 10. One carry will go here, it will become 10. And at last the one carry will go here, so it should say 1. So this should be our output, right? And I have written the snippet of the code so that we should be able to understand what the recursion is doing. So in this case, the diff is 3, right? So we have 5 elements here, 2 elements here, so diff is 3. And this is the snippet. So basically what I'm doing here, if you see in this code, what I'm doing here is basically first creating an empty element. I will explain you why I'm creating an empty element, right? So let's ignore it for this time, for right now. And after that, if you see, I'm just moving next. And after coming out of recursion, as we already know, um, you know, when our recursion will end. So let's go back here. So what I'm doing at the start, I'm moving it by the diff. So initially our diff is greater than 0, so we'll come here, and we'll move head 1 to next, right? And after that, I'll move it 3 elements. So this will come here and this will be here, right? Because we are not doing any operation here. So now the diff is 0 because we are decrementing the diff also. So in this case, it will fall here and then we'll start moving both of them together. That's what is happening here. Okay, so let's run over this example and see how this thing will behave. So I'm erasing this thing. Okay, so and using this also. Cool. So yeah, so our diff is 3. So first we'll come here and let's draw some recursion stack also. So that yeah, it's already drawn here. So here it is. So diff is initially 3. This is our starting position for head 1 and head 2. So what we'll do initially, we'll come inside this. Diff is greater than 0. So now we'll move head 1 to the next element, right? So our recursion stack. So initially our recursion stack, head 1 is at 9, head 2 is at 6, diff is 3, and we have created a temp variable. So temp variable represent this. So we are creating an empty temp variable everywhere, right? So okay, so after this we'll go into the recursion. So we moved head to the next 9. So 9 is here, right? Next 9, and h2 is again same. Diff will decrease because we are decreasing the diff, so this will become 2. And again, we are creating an empty temp variable, right? So we'll move back here. Again, our diff is greater than 0. So we'll again come into this condition, right? So what will happen here is again, our head will move here. So h1 will be pointing to 9 again, and this will be 6, and diff will become 1 in this case, and temp will remain temp. So now we'll go back again in recursion. Again, diff is greater than 0. So again, we'll move this thing here. So this will point to 4 now. This will point to 6, and diff will become 0 at this moment. And temp, again, will create an empty variable. So we'll come here. Now let's see. Now our diff is 0. So we'll not come into this condition. We'll not come into this condition. We'll come into this where diff is 0. So now we'll move both of the pointers together so that they both reach at the end at the same time. And that's what our goal is, so that we can add them. So let's move them one by one. So this will move here, 5. This will move here, 2. Right? Diff will remain same because diff, we are not doing any operation. So okay, and temp variable will again be here. So I lost the space here. Yeah. So I lost. So temp will again be here. Amazing. So let's move forward here. What will happen? This will move to null, and this will also move to null because there will be null. So now, if let's go back to our code to see if this is the termination condition of code. Yeah, this is the termination. If both are null, what we are saying, okay, make carry 0 because anyway, null doesn't make sense, and return null from here. So let's go back here. So our recursion will start returning now. Right, so from here, our recursion will start returning. So we'll come here. Now this is the most amazing part. So if you see, we have reached on both of the lists at the same time at the end elements. That's what we wanted, right? So now what we'll do, let's go back to our code once more. So we went there from this recursion, right? As we saw, because diff was 0. So what we are doing, we are adding the list 1 element, list 2 element, and adding carry, and then dividing it by 10. So divider will be 10, and storing in temp data because that was the node that we created. We are updating the data, and then we are again calculating if there will be carry. So, and after this, what we are doing, we are returning temp. Why we are returning temp? Because if we return temp, so let's go back here in this example. Let me explain you why we are returning temp here. So after adding these two things, so what will be the output? Will be 7, right? 7. So this is our output node, right, that we created. Now we will have to return this output variable so that the element temp, the empty temp that we were creating previously, right? So what we'll get 7 here, we will return from here to here, and we have to return this also so that the empty temp variable that we created here can point to this so that we can form a linked list, right? So that's why we are returning. And whenever you see in all these if conditions, what we are doing actually, we are pointing temp next to the return value. So whatever temp will return here, the previously created temp next will point to it. So it's basically it will create a linked list. So that's the intention here. Right. So let's go back here as we have all the data. So yeah, so this is so here as I have mentioned the temp, this temp next will start pointing to the return value from here, which was seventh node, right? And after this, again, as we know, uh, in this in this recursion where we went from here, right? So right, and our nodes will be at what position? 4 and 6, right? So this will be 4, this will be 6, and we start adding them again. So 4 and 6 will give us 10, and 10, so 10 in single digit, what we have to do? 10 modular 10 to see like what we should store here. So we'll store 0 here, and 1 will be the carry. So carry will become 1 here, right? So this will be adding next, right? So now we will come back from this recursion to this. And what we'll return? We'll return the node temp that we created here. And node temp that we created here was this. So we'll return this. And our previous recursion temp that we created will start pointing to this, right? So here we had one empty temp that will start pointing to this. Now, uh, okay, so now in this recursion, I think we reached here. Here, from where we went? Not from this, not from this, we went from here, right? So we went from here. So again, this guy will be pointing here, and this guy will be pointing to this, right? So let's go back and check the logic. What was the logic below that recursive function in when diff was greater than 0? When diff was greater than 0, we already know, okay, we are still moving forward into the list one. So we have to just do the operations on the list one data, right? So that's what we are doing here. We are taking the list one data, adding carry, and seeing, okay, what we should store here, and then again recalculating if there is any carry left which we need to propagate. So that's what we will do here. We will just, so that's what we'll do here. So what we got, carry as 1, and 1 plus 9 will again become 0, and the carry will again remain 1 because 1 plus 9 is 10, and 0 will come here. And again, we will, go back to this level, and the temp will start pointing to this one, and this one will be returned. Okay, so, okay, and at this point, head one was here, and we, from which recursion will fall from this one, right? So again, list one. So we'll see the list one data, which is again 9, and we'll add the carry, which will become 10. So carry will remain same 1, and 0 will be stored here. And again, so we'll reach the last one, and the last one has again 9. So this will again become 9 plus carry 10, 0. So now carry will be 1. So, and we will be returning this. So here our recursion will end, right? So let's go back to our code and see. So we will return temp from here, which will be the head of the list. So our current list look like this: 0, 0, 0, 0, 7, right? But the carry is still there. So we have to create one more node because our carry is non-zero, and we have to add it at the end, right? So let's see where we are doing in our code. So our recursion will end here. We'll return the head of the list. So this function will go back here. And here, if you see, here we are storing that returned value, and then we are checking if the carry is greater than 0. What we are doing, we are creating one more node and adding it at the front. Like we are making the head as a temp and temp next as whatever was returned here. So we are adding our carry at the front. So basically what will happen here is 1 will be added here. And then what this function will do, this function will return the head. So that's how this complete program works. So our output will be this complete list. So I hope you guys would have understood how this program is working. And if you haven't understood, I would ask you to go ahead and refresh your recursion logic, watch the playlist what I have, or maybe you should run with some smaller examples so that you can understand it. So let's discuss what will be the time in the space complexities. So let's go back to our PPT here. And okay, so basically the space complexity, as you guys would have understood already, we are using stack and storing the elements of the list, right? So it will be O(n), where n will be the length of the biggest list, right? So in our case, the length one, right? So this will be O(n). And time complexity also is as because we are moving through all the elements of the list, so this will again be O(n). Okay. So this question is done. But in interview, uh, if you have implemented this, so there are some constraints to this logic that we have discussed here. As you know, we are using recursion, and a recursion, what it will try to do, it will try to load the complete list into the memory, right? Because we are moving up the stack and we are storing all the elements of the list into the stack. So recursion will always happen in memory, but there are some constraints with the recursion. If we use recursion, basically our list length should be such that it could be loaded into the main memory, right? So if our linked list will have the billions of the elements, so it might be the case this logic will not work. Your recursion logic will crash, right? So as an interviewer, my follow-up question to you will be, you know, what happens if the linked list has the billions of elements, or your linked list could not be loaded into the main memory, right? If your interviewer doesn't put this constraint, and if you give this solution to your interviewer, I think you should be okay. Like you will get 10 out of 10. But like if there is a follow-up question, and if I would have been the interviewer, I would have asked you like, okay, this solution will work only for the list which could be loaded into the main memory. What about the list which could not be loaded completely into the main memory, right? So I think this video is long enough, so I will discuss this follow-up solution for the list which could not be loaded into the main memory completely. Like the list has billions or zillions or trillions of elements there, and so how we can solve for those kind of lists. So I hope you guys have understood how to solve this question so far, and I hope you have liked the video. So see you next time. Thank you.